Hello, folks. We're live. It's Fandango Friday, and we have liqueurs tonight. There's Burley Sullivan. And here's the link. If you have a liqueur, you can join. Not liquor, liqueur, a flavored product. Now, I am in Louisiana. We're going to have James P. Madonna probably joining us in a little bit. We have Ronnie S. joining us, but I have Yukon Jack Apple. Yukon Jack original was introduced in 1974. I don't know when they introduced the apple, but probably over the last 47 years, they just brought in new flavors, probably got rid of some flavors that didn't go over too well. Named after an actual guy who was from the United States that was a famous sort of trapper, explorer in the Yukon territory, which I've never been to, but Yukon is very large. But it doesn't have enough people to be a province. They've got more people probably in Clearwater, Florida than that whole province, although that province is probably as big as Georgia, Florida, and Alabama together. All right, now, Ronnie S. is in Alabama, and you have...
I'm not in Alabama. I'm in...
I'm sorry. Florida.
Yeah. 99 bananas, or 99 brand espresso coffee. 99 proof is 49.5% alcohol, and I guess it's owned by Sazerac, right?
Yeah, both of the products we're looking at are Sazerac brands.
So it's produced by Polynesian Products Company in Louisville, Kentucky. And I got a 100 milliliter bottle for $2 and I think 19 cents at the local Publix.
It's not bad. It's not the best price, but it's not bad. We've been getting the 50 milliliter bottles for 50 cents around here, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's pretty good. If I did some searching around gas stations and stuff, I could probably get a better price, but yeah, it's just on the way home.
Now I'm going to do a screen product. Look at this come. If it'll show up.
What are you doing, a screen share?
I'm going to. I'm going to go to my face. Now, okay, let's see. Screen share. So here is Yukon Jack. Only the strong survive, which is a kind of an implied reference to what? $100 proof, a true test of strength. If you're looking for a challenge, you come to the right place. So, they're kind of like sort of baiting people to drink something really strong, but they're using like obscure language because you can't literally do that legally.
Oh, okay. It's pretty obvious.
So they got to right. They use this implied. Yes. So they have the fire, the apple, the honey. I don't have the honey. I need to look for that. I've had the original on the last one we did. There's fire, apple, and honey. I need to look for honey. A full taste of whiskey with a classic blend of apple and spice. So we'll get back to screen share when we get to your product. See what's going on here. I'm going to see if I can track down your product.
I actually looked it up online. It's got a pretty bad website. Not much info at all.
Yeah, but they do at least show the flavors, right?
Yeah, they show them, but they don't talk much about them. It's on the Sazerac website, and then you can also go to the 99 brand website itself.
Yeah, 99.
The Sazerac one says nothing.
Yeah, it just says a link. It's just a link to the...
Yeah.
Let's see here. Butterscotch, cinnamon, coconut. Oh, there's espresso. Okay, so I'm bringing it up. Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. At least I got it linked. All right.
Now, do you want to do a little after the liqueur exam? You want to do a little history on Memorial Day?
Yeah, we'll get to that. James, if he joins, we'll probably want to talk about it. All right, so I'm pouring mine. Go back to this, try to do this screen thing here. All right, let's see what it says on the label. It says 100 proof Yukon Jack apple. I've never had an apple flavored whiskey or liqueur in my life, actually. Only the strong survive. And now here's the legal disclosure. Whiskey with natural apple flavor. So it is a whiskey, Canadian whiskey, natural apple flavor, bottled in Louisville, Kentucky. Probably, obviously at the same facility as the 99. So I'll put the cap back on this plastic bottle. Cost me 79 cents. Okay, so now let's look at the appearance. It's what is that?
It's pretty light.
Yeah, like apple juice, gold like apple juice. I guess that's what they're shooting for. Now, got some alcohol legs. 100 proof, that's pretty strong. Woof. All right, let's go with the nose. It smells like, it's natural apple flavor, which I got into kind of some arguments with people on alcohol legs. They were saying, no, if it's natural apple flavor, it's fake. I said, no, that's artificial.
Right.
That's artificial flavor. I said, if it's natural apple flavor, it has to come from apples. It could be apple extract. It could be apple skins. It could be dehydrated apple. It could be pulverized apple, apple puree. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But it has to be derived from apples. If it's artificial, that means they're using some chemical compound that mimics the flavor of apples.
Now, if it's from concentrate, that means it's natural, right?
Right, because you're just taking apples and you're concentrating them, and then later, add water to bring it back. Well, it's not a long weekend for me, Jason, but for y'all, cheers to y'all. I got to work Friday. I don't get Memorial Day off. I never did when I was teaching school. I never got off Memorial Day.
Why? Right. They don't have school on Memorial Day.
Yeah, but sometimes we had to work.
Really?
Yeah, for like record keeping and stuff. I didn't care. We got off all the time anyway. Teachers get off a lot, and then they complain, because the union.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised they would work Memorial Day.
Yeah, we did. If the date, if it depended on when it fell. All right, this smells like apples and Canadian whiskey. I don't know how else to describe it. It's mostly like apple candy, but natural apple. It smells like green apple skins, kind of like sour apple. All right, cheers to you all.
Cheers.
It's very thick. Oh, it's very strong. You could take this and add water to it, some cold water 50-50, and I think you'd be in good shape. On its own, it's how on earth anybody would take this stuff and drink it? A lot of it. Drink a bunch of it. I just don't get it.
What was the flavor you had last time?
The original.
This one you think is stronger?
They're all 100 proof. The strange thing though, the original is a grain product that's made to taste like whiskey. Like, why wouldn't you just use real whiskey? And then this is a whiskey that's flavored with apple flavor. So it's an odd thing. It's heavy, syrupy. It's like a syrup concentrate. Now, my thinking is that people are not buying this and drinking it straight out of the bottle.
Yeah.
I think they're like mixing it with seltzer water or, like, I mean, it's like a syrup. So you're using it as a flavoring agent for something else, like making maybe Jello shots or something. I don't know. It's very strong, and I've seen stores that sell the liter bottles of it. Various things like this, and they'd be around, guess around $16 for a liter and $18 a liter, and they'll buy these things and use them for New Year's Eve or 4th of July or celebrating Memorial Day, so to speak. Now, okay, a little bit more information here. If you like natural apple flavor, green apple, I'm thinking, doesn't taste like red apples. Well, I guess it'll work. It's very intense. It's undiluted. It's strong. I think if you drink too much, you'd be very, very ill. But like I say, it's not really designed for. I did put it in the freezer for a few weeks. It's just an intense experience. Now, for 50 milliliters, I poured the whole thing. I'm going to drink it. No big deal because you hardly got anything there. But I wouldn't dare go higher. 100 milliliters would be the max. I think you have 100. But I'd be very wary to go above that. So anyway, do I like it? Yeah, I like it considering what it is, apple flavored. I don't really care for apples, honestly. I like apple pie about 4 times a year. I can tolerate that. Yeah, I don't take any kind of exception to it. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I'd recommend it, especially if you can get a bottle to sample it for 79 cents. Why not? Heck, I'll give it a score later, but I'm sure it'll be a pretty high score. They've been making this thing for nearly 50 years. Now we're gonna turn it over to Ronnie in Florida, not Alabama.
All right. I just pour a little bit here. Pretty dark.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the smell on it is a lot of coffee.
Can you show it again?
Yeah. A lot of coffee on the smell, which I guess is the point. It actually smells pretty good.
Well, actually, Jason, Memorial Day is on Monday, but yeah. Okay, so show us the actual liquid again.
It's dark, right?
And yeah, it's probably got a lot of caramel color. And does it smell like?
Yeah. So it says it contains caramel color. It says that on the bottom. Yeah, it's about the only thing as far as ingredients that it mentions.
What is the legal disclosure say? It's just at the very bottom. If you can see it, it's very small.
It says contains caramel color produced by Polynesian Products Company, Louisville, Kentucky. It's got the Sazerac website, the 99 Brand Party website, and then it's got the government warning. We know what that says. So that's it.
Doesn't have a disclosure like a liqueur with coffee flavoring or something like that?
No, it says, because I guess it says liqueur on the front, but then on the back it says that it contains caramel color. So
Okay.
I guess maybe that's the legal part of it.
Yeah, because all these beverages have to state what they actually are,
Right. Well, I guess it says liqueur right there. So,
Okay.
I guess it's considered a liqueur.
Yeah, it smells like coffee, huh?
Yeah, that's what it smells like. With like a slight hint of maybe some alcohol, but it's almost 50% alcohol by volume. So cheers.
Cheers to you.
Yeah, and I guess you could say it tastes the same as it smells. Again, I think I said that last time. So it tastes like coffee with like a spiked coffee. Yes, coffee with some alcohol in it. it's smooth up front, and then you get a burn going down. There's a website. So they give you some recipes here. Yeah, that's all it says, and then it has recipes. There's 3 of them, I think. Yeah, it's pretty like burning going down. You can feel the burn going down your throat. So it's like coffee up front and then burn in the back. By the way, I'm pairing it with a beer. This Chrome.
Is it like nasty, or is it like good or nasty?
No, it isn't nasty. It's not. I wouldn't say it's nasty. It's pretty good. So that first one there, it sounds like it might be interesting. Yeah. Irish cream with the 99 oranges. I would try that one. The second one is just 2 different kinds, I guess, that they mix together.
Well, I'll say this much. It seems to be very popular because I see people buying this stuff all the time.
I honestly don't, but I don't really look out for it.
Right. You're not sitting there monitoring people. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of these flavors, the 99 brand flavors. In the back of the cashier, they have a whole wall full of just that one brand.
And it's a family-owned company. They don't have a board of directors. It's owned by a man and his wife in New Orleans. But you know, they're billionaires. You know,
it's owned by Sazerac, right? And then so it's a subsidiary of Sazerac.
Yeah, because Sazerac is owned by William and Mr. and Mrs. William Goldring.
Oh, okay.
He's about 90 years old, so I don't know what's going to happen to the company. His father, he's William Goldring Jr. So I think it was Bill Goldring Sr., who was really a big shot back around 50 years ago. And he had owned this huge distillery company. And but the thing was, he owned a lot of distributorships. And about 15 years ago, the U.S. government came in and said, oh, you can't own a liquor company and a distributorship. You're not allowed to distribute your own products.
Right.
In the land of the free, you know. So he said, well, okay. So he sold his distributorship to some people. But if you notice, when you go to New Orleans, right outside of New Orleans, just west of New Orleans on US Highway 90, this huge warehouse, and I mean huge, and I mean really huge. They have this huge distribution warehouse, Republic National. But curiously, the only liquor they sell is from
Sazerac.
Yeah, isn't that strange? But he doesn't own it technically. But that goes back to kind of like the free enterprise thing that I was talking about the other day. I don't know why that would be a law. Like, why would you have a law saying you can't?
Is that run by the states, or that's a federal thing?
It's a federal. Because
I know Florida has some something like a law with distributors where they can't.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a Florida thing, from what I've heard about it. Or I guess like breweries can distribute their own stuff, and they need like a distributor in between them and the store.
What happened? It's really interesting because what happened before Prohibition, 1919, 102 years ago.
The Volstead Act.
Yeah. Before that went into effect, there were really no regulations. So you had companies like Anheuser-Busch that had their own bar rooms. There were Michelob bar rooms across the United States that only sold, well, naturally Michelob beer on draft. And in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, they still have this freedom. They're not free in many other ways, but they have this freedom where they can have brand only bar rooms. Like they have bar rooms that only sell a certain brand of English ale.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally illegal in the United States. Like absolutely, totally not allowed, which
Yeah.
kind of argues against the whole concept of land of the free. Because in my opinion, if it's a free country, why couldn't you make a beer company owned bar room, right? Or
yeah, but that's just one example. I mean, out of many.
To say the least.
It's not really the land of the free.
The land of some freedom, I guess you could call it.
We're freer than a lot of other countries,
right?
But less than some countries.
I don't think you're supporting exceptionalism. All right, now let's go and do our scores. So Yukon Jack, it didn't take me long to drink that since there was hardly anything in it. I'm going to go with score.
$93.
Yeah, one thing that cracks me up on beer review videos that people make is they'll say, I'm going to give this a bad score because it's not for me.
Oh yeah, so they're not grading it by the style.
Yeah, and I say, well, they'll say I don't like honey, so I'm going to give it a C-. I say, well, don't drink it. You know, I mean, so I don't like apples, but I'm still going to give it a 93 because I think if a person loves green apples,
mm-hmm.
oh, they're just going to go crazy over it. You know, would I ever want to drink another apple flavored whiskey in my life? No, but it exists and they do a good job. There's the Crown Royal apple, there's Jack Daniel's apple, there's Canadian Club apple, there's everybody else apple. And if I never drink any of those for the rest of my life, I'll be very excited to never drink those. But I'm not going to
Jim Beam apple, right?
Jim Beam apple. But I'm not going to score something low because I don't particularly like it. Now, if it was up to me, there would be a pumpkin pie flavored Yukon Jack. But I like pumpkin pie. There would be an artichoke flavored Yukon Jack. But I don't think there's going to be any artichoke flavored Yukon Jack. Now, how do you score it? I'd love to.
Well, you know, in the same vein, I'd say if you like coffee, you'd probably really like it. And I like coffee. So I'm going to give it a 95. This is a good product.
Fair score.
First couple of sips, you know, they go down a little harsh, but you can keep drinking this. I think so. This is a 100 milliliter bottle. I'm not going to drink it all, but it's good. It's a good price, and I probably could have got a better price if I searched somewhere. Public doesn't have the best prices.
Not the best prices, huh?
No. I don't think they have Publix in Louisiana, right?
No, I think the furthest they go is Pensacola, Florida.
The furthest west, yeah. They're pretty big on the southeastern. I think they might go up to they're definitely in Georgia. They might go farther north than that, but they're huge in Florida, like big huge. They control the supermarket chain.
Actually, I think they were trying to make a move to come to Louisiana, but they didn't allow it because they said it would hurt competition.
Now you have Winn-Dixie there, right?
Yeah.
Winn-Dixie, from what I've read, used to be pretty big in Florida, but Publix basically pushed them out.
Yeah, and ironically, the headquarters of Winn-Dixie is in Jacksonville.
Yeah. That's right. I think it used to be in Miami back when it first started.
Oh yeah. Well, it was two different companies. It was Wynn Grocery Store and Dixie Grocery, and then in 1956, Wynn and Dixie
Yeah.
Grocery combined, and
Wynn was headquartered in Miami when it started.
obviously owned by a family named Wynn, Winn.
I believe so, yeah. And then they got pretty big, and they actually supported some candidates in like the 50s, Florida politics. They got with big donations and stuff. And I think around that time, or maybe like the 60s or so, is when they bought out Dixie. And then,
Yeah,
then
56.
56 was it? Okay. And then they kind of when Dixie had their downfall with like I think in like it started in like the 80s, and then it like especially sped up in the 90s into the 2000s. Because what Publix was doing was they locate a Winn-Dixie and then put their supermarket like across the street, and it just had a better appearance. It looked a lot cleaner and newer and stuff. And there's like with like Northerners moving down here, a lot of them. I don't know how true this is, but they would say they'd rather go to the store that didn't have a Dixie name. Seems kind of silly to me, but like that might
Yeah,
have something to do with it too.
it seems to me if you took 100 Northerners, or as I would say Yankees, and you don't blame me. That's just my
Now, Yankee actually means you're from New England, doesn't it?
New England, right? It's more like New England, New Hampshire, Vermont.
Even though the baseball team is in New York.
What? Oh, right. But in the South, I guess they consider anybody north of the Ohio River as a Yankee. Okay, Jordy. Well, you better go drink some water and take a good night. Go to sleep.
Have a good weekend, Joey.
Have a good weekend. Drink a lot of water and eat some good crackers and bread and all that. All right, now I just can't imagine that there would be people from up north that would move to Florida and then take exception to a store called Dixie.
I do too, so I don't know how true that is.
That sounds like some kind of fable.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I went to Winn-Dixie a few times, but there's only one that I know of around here, and there's literally a Publix like all over the place. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, now in Louisiana, around New Orleans, where I live, Winn-Dixie's still pretty powerful. So there's a Winn-Dixie right there. I can almost see it, the lights at night from this window, and it's pretty powerful. There's Winn-Dixie all over New Orleans. So
Now, how do you like the prices there? I find them to be not that great.
Yeah, they're a little expensive. I think they'll probably be around for a good while, unless there's a buyout. I know that they sold off all their Western Louisiana stores to Brookshire from Texas. Brookshire in Texas is very powerful. But the grocery store competition is ruthless. There's not much of a profit margin, so you're either going to win or you're going to lose. There's no in between.
It's interesting too how regional they are. I never really realized that. So we're up in Long Island, New York, where I grew up, completely different supermarkets. None of them are down here.
Right. There's no nationwide grocery stores except for Walmart, I guess.
Yeah, and then could you even count that as a grocery store? I guess you could, because they have like there's one here called the neighborhood market that's all food.
All food.
I guess you could count them.
Yeah. They tried the neighborhood market around here. It didn't really work. But unlike most other industries, grocery store chains have been mostly regional. I know A&P, Atlantic and Pacific, was the one that tried to go nationwide. But my father told me
they went bankrupt in 2015.
Yeah, my father told me that, and the oldest Atlantic and Pacific grocery store was in New Orleans. It had been there literally continuous operation from 1926 to 2015. They had a big sign out front. established in 1926 or whatever. It's the oldest A&P store.
I'd never been to an actual A&P, but they owned Pathmark and Wallbongs. And so when A&P went bankrupt in 2015, I believe it was, those two chains were gone, and they were pretty big where I was from.
A&P was huge here. But my father told me that the thing that brought A&P down was that they refused to buy produce from the organized crime syndicates. Apparently, my father said produce, vegetables, and fruit was under the control of the mafia, so to speak. So they refused to buy it from them, and that started to bring them down.
I wonder how true that is. Safeway? I've heard of Safeway. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's still around. We have Safeway in Grand Isle, Louisiana, and Safeway owns Albertsons, and Safeway are owned by the same investment group. So yeah, I get a lot of Albertsons products if I drive 36 miles from here, 35 miles from here. Yeah, Safeway, I'm familiar with it. But anyway, now, so we got good scores for our liqueurs. And the next time we meet, which will be in a couple of weeks, I guess, I'm going to bring in the Yukon Jack Fire, which is Yukon Jack with cinnamon. No big deal. I don't know what you'll bring. Whatever you can score, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever I find.
Not too hard to find.
I don't plan that far out.
Yeah, not too hard to find liqueurs, is it?
No. Not surprisingly. I never really bought liqueurs, but yeah, they're pretty popular.
We're going to go to Memorial Day, but oh goody, James P. Madonna has arrived.
Uh-oh.
Okay, people.
James, what are you drinking tonight?
No, not so fast. Not so fast, you little rascal.
So
It is Happy Memorial Day weekend 2021, everybody, and here we go for Fandango Friday.
That's right.
Okay, it is Fandango Friday and Memorial Day weekend, and I was very happy to see the store Whole Foods was dead, which means a lot of people went away, and the weather is definitely not beach weather up here. Maybe down by you. Anyway, I got from Spain Liqueur 43.
Oh yes,
the Liqueur de 43.
43.
And I got information about it. So that's it. Liqueur 43.
Have you ever had that before, James?
Never had it before, Ronnie S. Never had it before. All right. Fandango Friday is definitely entertaining and educational, unlike a lot of those people that are like morticians. Like they're like that.
That's a drag.
And then you say something clever, and then you start telling a historic story, and they don't even reply to your history lesson. They're like this. Like I've seen more personality on Lurch from the Addams Family, for God's sakes.
He's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, compared to some of these boozehound fanatics that are just like they just stare into space like they don't even like move no facial expressions like that. like Nosferatu when he got up from the crypt, whatever. But anyway,
But
regardless.
your religion is reviewing beer. Okay, wait. Now let's see. Let's see what I can find on this 43 liqueur.
It has a history. There's no doubt about it.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a screen share. Boy, I gotta use the bathroom. I gotta. You know
I have
what?
it.
All right.
Well,
Hold on.
I have I got the Wikipedia information, but it goes back. I mean,
Wait, I'm gonna go straight to the website.
Yeah. Oh, it goes way back. Let's see. 43 stands for 43 different ingredients. And it was a closely guarded secret by the Zamora family. It contains citrus and fruit juices flavored with vanilla, among other aromatic herbs and spices. And it goes back to 209, the 3rd century, according to this. Carthago Nova during the 3rd century.
Wow.
Liqueur mirabilis was encountered by the Romans when they conquered the region 2009 BC, despite the Romans banning its production and consumption. Yeah, why would the Romans, what do they do that, to bust balls? The Carthaginians, which means Carthage, I guess, Hannibal.
Right.
Yeah, Hannibal.
That's from Libya. Right, Libya.
Hannibal was the leader of an empire of North Africa, continued producing it in secret. This legend served as the inspiration for the Zamora invention of the liqueur 43, which has 43 ingredients. ABV is 31%. But yeah, 43 ingredients. Without reading, there's a lot of information here. So
now here I brought up the website.
There you go.
Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
The name derives from the fusion of its 43 natural, and I got into the argument with some people on Facebook, natural ingredients. Look, if it's natural ingredients, it has to come from the actual product. It cannot be a chemical compound used to achieve its unique flavor. What does liqueur 43 taste like? Complex but harmonic flavor that can be achieved at 4 levels. Here's the 4 levels: citrus, botanic, sweet, floral.
I picked a good one, apparently.
Yeah. What is the exact production of liqueur? According to our philosophy for developing products, our liqueur 43 expert is the only one authorized by the Zamora family. Okay, folks, family owned, to manage the elaboration of our premium liquids. Our production method follows 6 steps. Ingredient selection, maceration, fusion, resting, stainless steel tanks for 6 to 9 months. The exact length depends on the judgment of our liqueur expert. Cold treatment, filtration, what distinguishes it from other liqueurs. It's a family secret.
Oh, like
Right.
It's none of your business.
All 43 ingredients we use to create the unique taste are natural. Nevertheless, a small amount of coloring is added to give its golden color. All right, so they're being upfront.
Yeah, well, that's what mine basically was.
Caramel color. And James, you have a cooking website. What is caramel coloring derived from?
It's just a cooked sugar, burnt sugar. It's just, a flan has caramel syrup on top. You just melt the sugar in a pot, a double boiler if you want, and it becomes brown after it melts. it's derived. It's naturally derived originally caramel.
Sugar browned in a pan.
Browned in a pan, yeah. It doesn't have to be fancy molasses raw cane juice. It could be cheap white cane sugar, and you just put it in a pan. That's caramel.
Now, at these factories, the pan might be the size of a football field, but all right.
Now, I say caramel because that's how it's spelled. These people out there go caramel. Where
Oh,
do they get
yeah. No, that bothers me to no end.
annoys me. They try to sound, thank you, Jordy. They try to sound sophisticated, you know, and all, whatever you want to call them, metrosexual or whatever the hell they are, yuppies. You know, they got to say caramel. A few of the jabronis that are on your show say caramel.
Yeah, because they're erudite. They play tennis.
Yeah, the hairy ball. You know, dogs love to play with the tennis ball. For some reason, they really love it. Family secret. Yeah, that's Italian. None ya business. If somebody asks what's your secret, say none ya business. NUNYA. None ya. Anyway, what do you? Oh, you got Yukon Jack apple. I was going to say 93, and Ronnie's got an espresso coffee liqueur.
Yep.
Which is comparative to a Kahlua, I guess.
So we're just waiting on you, James.
Oh, you already poured yours. Okay.
Oh yeah, we already reviewed ours because we came on at 6:30 Eastern. Let's see. So you got 43.
Oh, I didn't know Fandango's at 6:30 Eastern. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
I kept thinking about 7:20, and I forgot that it was.
Right, because you're thinking of Wednesday. What's the proof again? What's the proof again on this?
31 alcohol by volume, 31%, I believe. Okay, and there's your golden color. All right, so my shot glass is becoming topless.
Yeah.
I think it is topless, right? 100%.
Well, it's got a little bit that needs to come off, but anyway. I don't get an aroma, so I'm going to assume I'm going to receive a mega blast of flavor.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah, it's a mega blast, all right. And there's just so many. There's such a huge cornucopia of and multitudes of flavors. You know, between the sweetness, the citrus. It's not too sweet, like let's say an amaretto, which I do not like. It's too sweet. It's not like that. It's quite pleasant. It's very nice. I mean, I just get a lot of. You could tell that there's a long, painstaking process in making this. It's not something that is made in a short amount of time, because it's hard to put my finger on any one distinctive flavor that comes through. It tastes like it is the result of 43 different ingredients, but it's great. Whatever, the combination they use produces that high quality liqueur. Now this will be very good poured on, let's say, French vanilla or vanilla bean ice cream. It's really that pleasant, and you don't really notice the 31% alcohol. That's how great tasting this is. So that's why I'm saying this would be good in addition to many things. Poured on desserts. I get the combination of the citrus, the vanilla, kind of a very nutty flavor. It's definitely a high quality liqueur that can be combined, like I said, with desserts. I think so. And you can even pour it. You can even make a maybe add it to a sombrero with the half and half cream and whole milk.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say you can probably, it's so good you can combine this, I think, with a coffee liqueur and make a sombrero with this, because it's something that would go well in a creamy beverage, you know.
Now, Aaron has a question about the cost.
Well, I got a small bottle. I have no idea what a standard bottle is, and I would imagine it's not cheap. But you know, I just got a small cheapo amount for the show.
How much was that?
It's a few bucks, give or take.
Yeah. We all got the samples. Now in Canada, they have extraordinarily high prices.
Yeah.
So,
I think in Canada they have to pay for that free healthcare somehow. So
yeah, you gotta
I think that's why
pay
they go after the alcohol, you know, the beer and the liquor, because they say that that's not healthy. That's just my opinion, but I think that probably makes sense.
Well, see, the thing with Canada is their population is small, so they don't have enough rich people to tax. They're not populated like the United States is. So their funds, their revenue with taxation is very limited. So that's probably why they go after the sin.
The sin tax. Right.
The sin products.
right, because Canada has the same population as California, which is only one state.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's only like 30 million people.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what they charge for cigarettes up there.
Oh, about $20 a pack.
You can get Cuban cigars though in Canada.
You can get them.
Oh,
here,
wait.
too.
Wait, I bought a Cuban cigar in Louisiana last month, so that the law has changed.
Oh,
good for them. Good
well,
for them.
yeah, something recently just happened with Cuba, right?
Yeah,
I think, well, Castro's brother, Raul, relinquished power. And so I'm not sure what's going on with their government right now. But it's no longer controlled by the Castros.
You got a lot of potential. I tell you, there's a lot of beach. It's a huge island.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's what it was before.
I mean, a 5-star hotel, casino, resorts galore.
It was run by the mafia back in the 50s.
Yeah, in the Havana area, General Batista had the American mafia come and run his casinos, because the people were like the management he had was totally screwing up the business. So he had the mob come in. And then he escaped to Santo Domingo after the revolution with all the loot. He took all the casino loot with him. Went to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, so I wonder what's going to happen with Cuba. I know under Obama they kind of loosened up some of the stuff as far as the embargo and all that, but
it was only hurting the poor people of Cuba.
Right. We really should have a much better relationship with that country. It's pretty stupid that we don't.
Yeah, the people have no grudges against any other country. You know, they're just trying to get by. And you know, they have these old cars from the 1950s that they have to maintain. They have no choice.
Yeah.
They have to maintain.
70 years now, man. Those cars are not going to last for 100 years. I mean, come on.
they have to have some damn good mechanics over there to be able to maintain them like that. But
all right, now before we go to the next final part of the show, which is not going to last too long because I'm so, we're going to let James give us his score of this very interesting product, which I'd love to try. It reminds me of the Jägermeister, which is made with a bunch of botanicals. I think 29 or 37.
I believe Jägermeister surpasses this liqueur in ingredients, but Jägermeister, it's a lot like cold and flu medicine or cough syrup. It's like but it's good, but you have to drink it very cold, very chilled. As far as liqueurs go, and out of all the liqueurs I ever had, because I haven't had them all, I'm going to give this a 99 out of 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had Limoncello, the Italian, so I haven't had that yet.
I've tried that once.
Yeah, because I love lemon and I like to try that. Definitely Kahlúa's up there, and also Bailey's, and there's another one that I brought on one of the shows a long time ago that was also an Irish cream, but it wasn't Bailey's. I forgot. It was another company, and it was pretty good. So I have to leave a little room for some of the great products out there.
Bailey's is the big brand. But there's about 50 other Irish creams that don't get the credit or the attention, and they might be just as good as Bailey's, maybe better. Yeah.
Well, look at whiskey. People see Jameson's and on occasion Bushmills, but look at all the other Irish whiskeys that don't get attention.
Exactly.
Scotch.
I've got a bottle, right? I've got bottles of that independent. Look, I've got so many bottles of independent Scotch and Irish whiskey that get no attention, and they do very well in competition against the mainline brands. But people are pretty much fixated on the mainline brands.
It's consumerism and it's advertising. It works.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same thing with the beers.
You're right.
I didn't know that Grant's and Glen Silver ever existed until I stumbled upon it. And the only reason why I tried it is because it was reasonably priced and turned out to be good. It's not a single malt. It's a blend. It's a blend.
Now, James, what do you know about Decoration Day?
Now, Decoration Day, I'm going to assume, is not in honor of interior decorators nationwide. It is something else, right? Lemon extract.
Well, we're celebrating it this weekend.
Decoration.
That's the original name. It was to honor United States soldiers who were killed in the attack on the South, and then it was changed to Memorial Day later on, right?
When was it changed to Memorial Day?
Probably after World War I.
So I think it came into common usage after World War II. And then there was an act of Congress in '68 that officially named it Memorial Day, and then it made it every last Monday of May to be in line with the they called it the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, I think, so that federal workers can have 3-day weekends, and it was also affected back then it wasn't President's Day, it was Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday, and I believe Labor Day and Columbus Day. And then I guess, as years went on, other private companies began giving the day off as well. So it just became a 3-day weekend.
Probably it had something to do with barbecue sauce companies in collaboration with congressmen finding out that the end of May was a slow time of the year. And they probably got together and concocted a holiday so they could sell a lot of barbecue sauce. Now, that sounds terrible, But that's really what these things.
Well, it was a holiday before that. It was
right.
It was a holiday.
A very minor holiday, right?
Yeah. We lose James?
Uh-oh. Well, he'll be back. He lost his connection. That happens, of course.
Yeah, it was 68, and then I think it went into effect in 71.
Right around the same time Amtrak was started.
The same year that Nixon took us off the gold standard. For good.
Standard. Which
and it's all been downhill since then.
Now, as far as Memorial Day, sorry, James lost his connection, which is common on the primitive StreamYard platform. Let me say this about Memorial Day. Personally, I do feel bad for the soldiers that were killed in these wars. Men
Especially
and
the
women.
Civil War, right?
Well, all of them, but especially, anybody, men and women, which is mostly men, but there are some women who were killed. My second point of that would be, though, however, I think that we would not have to have a Memorial Day holiday if we, as the United States, did not get involved in all these foreign conflicts over the last 246 years. So I would say you could avoid.
Well, I guess you could say foreign and domestic if you count.
Yeah, foreign and domestic conflict. So
the war that it was actually made for, the holiday was made for.
Yeah. So what, James? What were you going to say?
All these wars for profiteering.
Wars for nonsense.
Wars for nonsense.
Who profited off of the Iraq war? Well, you don't even know. China, I think, profited.
Dick Cheney with Halliburton.
Halliburton made some deals, but honestly, it wasn't even that big.
Look at Afghanistan. The Taliban grows.
Yeah, who's profiting there?
They grow a lot of poppies in Afghanistan.
Right. That's who's profiting. The opium.
Poppies. The Wizard of Oz. Poppies. Yeah. The Taliban runs that.
Right.
I'm very.
In my opinion, you could I could do, this would be a great video one day, an open video where anybody can join. And I would say, give me any war the United States has been involved in, 1775, the unofficial war against France, 1812, Mexican War, War on the South, War on Spain, War on the Philippines, War on Germany.
You've done this, though, Ron. You've done this before.
Right. War on Germany, Part 2, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq 1, Iraq 2, Afghanistan. And I would make the argument that none of those were necessary, but some people would lose their over that.
And everything in between, because those aren't the only ones.
Right. The Indian Wars, all these other little
everything. I think there's only, like they say, like 2 years in the whole United States history that we've been completely at peace. Something like that, 2 years. There's always something going on.
Now that I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for Ronnie, and I'm not speaking for James.
Now, Ron, I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, you did a stream that I joined. I think the title was something about me. I don't know. It was about like soldiers going to war don't make me free or something like that.
Oh, right. Right. It was
the only time the United States was the only time the United States mainland was ever threatened, aside from Pearl Harbor being bombed, was World War II. I mean, other than that, all the wars after that.
Well, James, don't forget about the insurrection of this year.
Yeah, the insurrection. Now, would you say that has to do with insurrection dysfunction? No, I'm only kidding. Anyway, toy soldiers. I saw an interesting bit of history where during the Revolutionary War, General Washington told the Continental Army to leave your black powder and your lead balls at the camp and just use the bayonet, because the British, the redcoats, were killing a lot of Continental soldiers with the bayonet and not necessarily from being shot, because the muskets were not very accurate.
Right.
From afar. So what happened is the Continental Army snuck up on the British camps at night, and they just had the bayonet, and they won many battles with that strategy. So I thought that was interesting. 3rd century, this was invented, this liqueur 43, and as far as Jägermeister, I believe monks, back in the Middle Ages, monks developed that formula.
It might have been, yeah. So my final summary on the war is we don't have to have a Memorial Day if we don't have all these foolish wars. You know, if you take all the wars that were unnecessary and you took them away, you would be having a Memorial Day for like 50 people, you know, basically. So anyway.
Now some people hear that and they get emotional. When all we're relaying is a message of peace.
Now, right.
That all we're asking for is, you know, that the government overlords don't invade foreign lands, third world countries, and make you know, all this destruction, and send American men and women over there to either die or come back with, you know, maimed, without legs, or with their minds, you know, destroyed. And the best way to support troops is to not support these ridiculous wars.
Right. I agree. What now, James?
Look at all the countries that weren't unified, that had many internal wars between the provinces. Italy, Germany, China. China had Japan. You know, they had these warlords running these certain particular regions, and they would fight amongst themselves for, out of the I guess, power, greed, you know, which is one of the sins of human nature. You know, it's there's no necessity for most of these wars, except for the egomaniacal, narcissistic sociopaths that run the country.
Right. So I think we're in agreement saying that our main idea for Memorial Day is give peace a chance, support peace, up with peace, down with war, down with foreign conflicts.
What's it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Right. Don't support the military industrial complex, and but you can drink liqueurs and have a good hangout and have a.
Now, there's nothing wrong with having a 3-day weekend. I'm not opposed to that.
No.
And I think it might be 50%, or you know, it's even more than 50% of Americans. That's what it's all about, right? And that's cool. That's cool.
I'm curious about barbecuing, good food, right?
Yeah, the start of summer, and it starts to get really nice out. Here in Florida, it's like this all the time.
Food and grog. I like to know is, how come the Capitol Police Commissioner in Chief did not see these tens of thousands of individuals with red caps marching towards the Capitol building? I mean, didn't they see them?
Well, maybe they did. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, that's the question of the year. That's the question of the year.
Now, as far as this commission thing that they're talking about, I was speaking to James about this privately. Anything that is in a 9/11 style bipartisan commission is nothing that we should be in favor of.
No.
Because if we've learned anything over the past 20 years, a 9/11 style bipartisan anything is not good.
It's not going to do anything. It's a waste of time and money and manpower. It's just, you know, they are investing.
It'll be as believable as the Warren Commission.
Right, the JFK one, right?
The FBI is already investigating and arresting, you know, identifying more of the perpetrators. They're doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. Why did he?
And also, by the government calling its own citizens terrorists, it's a pretty scary sign that they are taking their propaganda of the last 20 years and turning it, instead of foreign, until all the foreign stuff, they're turning it onto their own people, and that's scary stuff.
Yeah, but vandalizing and looting the most important piece of real estate.
Why is it the most important piece of real estate? That's the question at hand.
Right.
What,
right.
It's not sacred.
Right. The Capitol building. It's the Capitol.
Right. Who cares? They're supposed to work for us.
Who cares? It's the Capitol building.
They're supposed to work for us, and if the people are not feeling like they are, maybe that'll happen.
All right, but wait. Let each person talk. So yeah, it is important that it's a Capitol building. People should not misbehave. If you want to go to the Capitol building and say, I don't like what's going on, fine. But to be a hooligan, I don't support hooliganism. And I don't support Irish terrorists. Yeah, I don't support Irish terrorists in 1916. And I even had a priest in my church go to some celebration celebrating the Easter uprising of 1916. And I didn't say a word, but I wanted to say, Father, why would you support people that went around shooting people in the head and setting off bombs, which mostly killed innocent people that had no interest either way in the Irish-English conflict? So that's just an example. But so those terrorists were made into heroes in Ireland, and God only knows what'll happen with these hooligans in January. But that's you have to be careful not to make heroes out of hooligans. I ought to make a video called.
Well, they're certainly not heroes. I wouldn't say they're heroes. Yeah, I really don't like calling anybody a hero. That's a strong word.
I mean, they wanted to kill Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi, AOC. They were looking to.
Oh, the AOC story is that's a funny one.
No,
Yeah,
she's.
There's some questions about her story.
Yeah, but
I think she basically admitted that it was a lie. She wasn't even there.
She wasn't hiding in her office with the dog?
No, it got proven that she was lying. She wasn't even there.
Oh, that's not nice. She was lying about it. That's not even.
I'm serious. Look it up.
Yes, that she was traumatized by the attack, but she wasn't actually at the building.
Right, and I guess she was hiding under her desk somewhere else.
Oh, like when George was sleeping under the desk. Yeah.
Oh wait, now here's Aaron. I like Aaron's comment.
I agree with Aaron. He's right.
The Easter uprising was about freeing Ireland from the British Empire. England was a completely different situation, Jay. So what Aaron is saying, that it's okay to commit terrorist acts if you like the idea.
Well, what were the Americans doing in 1776? Right. Now I know that you've said they shouldn't have even bothered, and they should have just stayed a part of the English Empire.
Right. So what Aaron is saying,
the conflict between the Irish and the English is very similar to the conflict with the Palestinians and the Israelis. But
to riot, have collateral damage where innocent men, women, children, civilians are getting hurt, instead of focusing your agenda and your mission like they should have done with what do you call Occupy Wall Street, which was a big fiasco. Have leaders direct your agenda instead of having all this collateral damage and rioting.
Well, what these guys did in DC was just silly. They had no plan. They certainly weren't committing a coup. They weren't trying to do a coup. They were just a bunch of dummies doing a stupid thing. And what happened was they made it bigger than what it was. They called it equivalent to 9/11, and this is all the silliness.
The Irish have been abused by British and English imperialism for centuries. So there's a lot of
that's true.
Justifiable anger.
Right.
But what Aaron is saying, that if you have the British rule in Ireland, then it's okay if you set off a bomb and it kills some old lady or some little kids, because the greater good is worth it. Well, I don't agree with that, because
I disagree also.
You may not appreciate it if I set off a bomb and it blew up your family. You would say, oh well, I love my family, but I don't care about, people in a textbook. But I would say, no, it's never okay to set off bombs that kills innocent people. I don't care what the hell your point is. And the ironic thing about Ireland, let me say this. The ironic thing about Ireland, well, Daniel, you sound like that guy Protopkin from Russia, who could always justify any massacre.
But he's not entirely wrong. What Daniel said, it's not entirely wrong.
Now, what the funny thing about Ireland is that the British were looking to get rid of Ireland. They wanted to get out of it. They wanted to let Ireland have home rule, self-government.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have went there in the first place.
Well, yeah, but that's the past, So, but they said, well, the British said, let's get rid of Ireland. It's like a cancer, It's like you have cancer, and why do we want to keep it? But then these terrorists, they didn't want that because they said we might not be in control. They wanted themselves to be in control. So they said, let's start setting off bombs.
What time period are you talking about, Ron?
About 1916.
So okay. Around the uprising. So the British were trying to what, just leave?
Yeah, because they had said they were going to give Ireland self-government before World War I broke out, which of course is the British fault. I'm not excusing Great Britain. But these terrorists, the IRA and Sinn Féin and all them, they wanted to be in control with their Marxist socialist ideology.
Were they Marxists?
Oh yes.
I didn't know.
Your research. So they say that's why they had a tricolor flag. The three colors, fraternity.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like in the French Revolution. So the three statements of the ancient order of the Freemasons. So they wanted to make sure that the British didn't give them self-government without them being in control. So you have to be very careful to support these freedom fighters, because what freedom fighters usually want to do is make sure that they get in control and set up a tyranny which is much worse than the tyranny they're claiming to try to revolt against. Like in Cambodia, they said we're gonna free our country from the imperialists. So then Pol Pot set up his People's Paradise in 1975. And I know James is well aware of Pol Pot's People's Paradise.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Massacre that happened back then. It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
His own people. He had innocent men, women, children, I guess. Then you have governments.
Right, but they said, oh, but these are class enemies. We're liquidating class enemies.
Right, you can't get into this type of discussion on most beer channels, but you can here.
Well, look at King Henry VIII. He had justifiable reasons for being against the Vatican, the Pope, the Catholic Church. So he set up.
What was his justifiable reason? He wanted to get divorced.
Well, yeah. Plus, the popes back then were pretty tyrannical themselves and corrupt. So what happened? He set up Anglican Church of England, right? But then he started having people executed, beheaded for heresy under.
I think he beheaded his wife, right?
Anne Boleyn under the Anglican Church. But putting people to death for heresy is what the Catholic Church was doing. So he became just as bad as the Catholic Church that he was so much against. Yeah, you see? So he became
much worse. Killed his friends, his family.
Right. And he was once considered the savior of Catholicism or something like that, right?
Yeah, he received an award.
He
received an award from the Pope as Defender of the Faith.
Defender, yeah.
Right. Well, the popes were against science. Thank you, Tommy. They were against Galileo, Copernicus, Leonardo da Vinci, any scientific progress. They were against Nostradamus. So this was back then. Yeah, they were pretty. I mean, they had people tortured, the Spanish Inquisition, you know. But these were the popes during the Middle Ages, and then
It's funny how you get into like all kinds of tangents when you just mention, you know, like we want pro peace and Memorial Day pro peace message. But it's good. It's good to talk. But
or we could be like some people in the
the beer world. Well, somebody just made a comment and said that that wouldn't be allowed on most beer channels. You know.
Yeah, well, there are people that just talk about craft beer. They craft beer. That's it. That's it. And until they get totally intoxicated and after drinking a case, and that's all they talk about. But at least you learn stuff.
So they know. So they know. I'm not criticizing them.
I don't think it's all they know, but I think it's that they try to be safe, and they don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers.
They want to be like.
Good point.
They want approval of everybody. That's the neoliberal. That's a neoliberal fault. They want to be liked and loved and approved of by everyone. Can't we be friends? I love you. You love me.
But when you're asking for likes on your video and people to subscribe to you, you don't want anybody to not like what you say.
Right.
And Ron never really has done that.
Yeah, but if you tell the truth and you educate people, you're going to get those like-minded people to appreciate your material.
Sure, but that's not really the YouTube. The YouTube way of doing things is to be friends. You know, which it's not bad to be friendly with everybody. Of course, that's a good thing to do.
Well, that's like Facebook. Facebook is they're Pollyannas. The psychological term. They're Pollyannas. And Mr. Terrio knows what a Pollyanna, the definition is, and they don't want to have anybody put them down or bash them or not approve of them. So everything is like I love you and you love me and the world is wonderful, and not a discouraging word, except some people tell me privately how they really feel privately, but they'll never do it on a live.
No, not on air, right? Not on air, right?
Yeah, they'll never do it. I know people like that. But anyway, the bayonet, and what's his name? The German helped train the Continental troops on how to use the bayonet from Prussia.
Mm-hmm.
An officer from Prussia.
Von Steuben.
Yeah,
a lot of the American troops were mercenaries from Prussia.
Yes, and Lafayette from France helped out the Continental Army too. Lafayette.
Yeah, you had von Steuben from Prussia. You had Pulaski from Poland. You had Lafayette from France. And, of course, the United States would have lost, except that Spain, France, and the Netherlands jumped in. And it was sort of like when some people are fighting and a whole gang of people jump in and start beating the one guy up, and they'll say, look, that guy was weak. He couldn't even beat us 6 guys.
Now Pulaski got to the United States. I mean, he got to the colonies very late because the Polish ship, they forgot to put the sails up. So he was like the last person to arrive. But that was a joke. But anyway, they named a bridge, a highway that goes to Bayonne, New Jersey, called the Pulaski Skyway.
That's right. And and one more thing before we get off the air. Did you know, just what I read, it could be a lie, but the Marquis de Lafayette.
Believe everything you read.
Right. That's right. Pulaski Skyway. I think that's on U.S. Highway 1, and I believe I rode on that. It's very high and steep. It's kind of scary to drive on.
It is. It's very high bridge.
And it's steep.
It's steep and narrow. Yeah. You know what was bad? The Williamsburg Bridge going to Brooklyn. It's like 100-year-old bridge, and when you go over it, it's like creaking, like an old mattress,
Yeah, I've driven on it. I've driven on the Williamsburg Bridge. And you know why I took it? It's free, no charge.
It's free, but you just look at how all the rivets. You look at it's a really ancient bridge, like I guess Brooklyn Bridge. Well, Verrazano's old, but not as old as Williamsburg.
Verrazano is the one that Cuomo tried to change the name to the Mario Cuomo Bridge, right?
But he wants to change.
No, it wasn't. It was the Tappan Zee.
No, that was Tappan Zee, Chimpanzee Bridge. Yeah, yeah, Mario Cuomo Memorial Bridge. But Verrazano connects Staten Island with Brooklyn, and then Staten Island, New Jersey is the Goethals, I believe. Staten Island connecting New Jersey is the Goethals.
Yeah, that's pretty new. That's a pretty new bridge because I think until they built that in 1964, Staten Island had a lot of farmland, like farms,
Well,
like literally.
Staten Island is the most distinct borough of the city, and they actually had a secession movement in the early '90s, and they didn't want to be part of the city anymore because they don't agree with most of the city's politics, and it's still the same way today.
Yeah, there's some nasty garbage dumps on Staten Island, though. But they're different. They're not like the other boroughs of New York.
Yeah.
They were like forced to. They were one of those laws that you can force a area to join your city even though they don't want to.
Well, the story of New York City is very interesting because they basically forced all the boroughs to become boroughs. They forced Brooklyn to. Yeah.
I have a question for Ronnie Simpson. The Throg's Neck Bridge. What is the Throg? Is it a three-legged frog or something? I mean, where did they get the name Throg's Neck?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's Long Island and Queens, right? I think connecting
Throg's Neck. Yeah, I've driven on some of the.
I don't know why it's called that.
Whitestone Bridge and all that.
Well, Whitestone is part of Queens. It's a area of Queens.
Queens to Bronx. When I was reading about the Marquis de Lafayette, I think there's a town in every state named after him. There's Lafayette, Louisiana. There's Lafayette, California. I think there's Lafayette, New York, Lafayette, Florida, Lafayette. Now, I mean, some of these towns.
There's a Lafayette Avenue, I think, in the Bronx.
There's a Lodi, California.
Yeah, there's Lafayette, Indiana, Lafayette, Illinois, Lafayette, Missouri, Lafayette.
Every state has Springfields.
Springfield, yeah. Springfield, Louisiana.
That's where the Simpsons are from. Every state.
Springfield, Louisiana. Yeah, I know where that is. It's in the middle of a swamp.
Springfield, Massachusetts.
7 Mile Bridge is in Detroit. I'd guess.
No, that's the Florida Key, Marathon Key.
Yeah.
Marathon Key.
It's the longest bridge in the Florida Keys. Because most of the Florida Keys.
No. Nina was saying 7 Mile Bridge. 7 Mile is it's like an Eminem reference.
You're thinking of 8 Mile.
Oh, 8. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually Route 1. The only road in the Florida Keys is Route.
Okay.
Yeah, right. United States Highway 1, and it goes from the very tip at the courthouse. It ends at the courthouse in Key West, which is a county courthouse, and it goes all the way north through New York City, the Bronx, Boston, Massachusetts, and it ends in Fort Kent, Maine, at the Canadian border. It's one of the longest highways in the world. You got to have a lot of patience to drive from the top to the bottom on that thing because you're gonna hit every stoplight between Canada and Key West.
A lot of traffic. Route 1 in Massachusetts and Boston area is horrible traffic. Yeah, it's narrow. It's old. Like we have a U.S. Highway Route 46 connecting New York to going to the Delaware River.
Pennsylvania, right.
Pennsylvania, yeah. It gets narrow. It's when you get towards Pennsylvania.
I've actually stayed at a hotel on that U.S. highway route, and there was a McDonald's across the street. U.S. Highway 46. Yes, it goes from the George Washington Bridge across New Jersey. It's not a very long highway, but it has been around since the 1920s.
When you stood at a when you stood overnight and there was a McDonald's across the street, did you see? Was there the Teterboro Airport? Was there an airport where the private jets land that visit New York City, or all the people with private jets?
I think it was Paterson, New Jersey. It was a very old motel, like it was built in the 1930s, called Knights Inn. I mean, it obviously wasn't owned by Knights Inn back then, but they had bought it, and it was kind of nice. I mean, they just gave free coffee, no free breakfast. But the guy was telling me, you can drink coffee any time of the night at this motel, and if you want to go across the street to the McDonald's, you can go across the street and get a free breakfast. I mean, get a breakfast for a small amount of money, and so it was free parking, and
Anderson, New Jersey. That must be like a Morris, Sussex.
No, Paterson.
Oh, Paterson, New Jersey. That's where I was born. Yeah, Paterson, New Jersey is not a very pleasant community. But there is a national park there by the Great Falls, Big Falls. But nobody goes there because they hear the word Paterson.
Yeah, I didn't have.
That's where you were born, Dan?
I didn't know. I didn't know it was bad. I guess it was all right for me because I just stayed at the motel and I was watching TV, and the next morning I went across the street to McDonald's and got a breakfast, and then I got in my car and I was off to the west, heading back to Louisiana. So it was all right for me. I didn't have any trouble. The air conditioner.
Well, like the saying goes, you mind your business, and it doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, it was like very multi-ethnic. It was a totally different Paterson.
Paterson, oh no, that's Newark. I was gonna say that's where Cory Booker is.
Well, Newark was a very different city way back.
Yeah, Newark is not a good area either.
Now, if you go to the Ironbound section of Newark, where the Portuguese people live, and they have all these restaurants that make paella and all that good stuff, you would never think you're in Newark. And there's no riffraff. It looks like it's very residential. Everybody's, walking around all hours of the night. There's like family.
Oh, kind of like Little Italy in the Bronx, where I was talking about meeting up with you and going check out in City Island, in the Bronx.
Besides Little Italy, the Bronx has decent areas. The Bronx gets a very bad name because of the South Bronx.
Right.
But there's lots of different areas of the Bronx that are fine to me. Yeah, Riverdale. Yeah.
Yeah, it's family-owned bakeries, fishmongers, butchers.
And those areas are not that much different than how Staten Island is. It's pretty similar.
Well, James, you look like you're enjoying that liqueur 43 liqueur.
It's good. No, really, it's good. It's why? What's so funny?
No, I'm just saying you're enjoying it. No, we're not laughing at it.
No, it's tasty. I mean, it's quality. It's not like syrupy,
Good stuff.
And sweet, like some of them are.
What's in South Bronx? South Bronx, is known as a bad area because of the fires in the 70s, where they said the Bronx was burning. It never has gained. It's never gained its.
It's a ghetto, right?
It's a ghetto. It used to be far worse than what it is now. It's just it used to be a Jewish area, from what I understand. Back in the old days, and then just when everybody moved out to Long Island and up to Westchester, New York, after World War II, the community just fell apart. And besides that, Robert Moses put the Cross Bronx Expressway right through the South Bronx, and that basically destroyed whatever community was there. And so, not to be racial or anything, but in the 60s and 70s, a lot of Puerto Ricans moved in, a lot of blacks. And when I say Puerto Ricans, I'm not just talking about any Spanish person. They were, actual Puerto Ricans. That's what the South Bronx is known for, is a lot of Puerto Rican culture. And it just became a bad area. It was, a lot of gangs and a lot of drugs. And it never really got better. It never really gained its reputation back after that, though it's not as bad as it was in the 70s.
Some parts of Brooklyn have, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
they built townhouses, condos, a lot of yuppies moving in. Bedford
right.
Stuyvesant, they did it there.
Every borough has its own neighborhoods, you know. So it's interesting, you know. There's a whole city, but every single borough has it's a borough, and then it has its own neighborhoods where there's good parts, and then there's bad parts, and there's middle class parts. New York City is a huge place. It's a huge place.
Upper Manhattan is all.
It's Washington Heights.
Washington Heights, yeah, towards the Hudson River is all nice now.
Crack is black, and that was a big problem in the 80s. It destroyed many neighborhoods.
Yeah, I walked around that whole area. I walked around by Columbia University, and I walked around the Bronx and all. I never had any trouble ever.
But I wasn't out there where Yankee Stadium is.
I've walked through there. No trouble. No trouble.
Yeah, I mean, daylight, you'd be fine. You know, you gotta be a little bit careful at night, I'd say.
But the Italian section of the Bronx has very reasonable prices compared to going to Manhattan.
The Clip Joint.
Of course it does. Though Manhattan real estate has skyrocketed or you know, dropped hugely in the past year.
Right.
Because of the lockdown.
James is right. We got to get off. I got to get off because I got to do Dawn Busters. James is right. And of course you are too, Ronnie, but James is right. If you want to go to Little Italy, don't go to Manhattan. Go to the Bronx, because you're going to go to Manhattan. You're going to pay $56 and get 3 little pieces of ravioli.
Yes, go ahead.
And if you want to go to Chinatown, don't go to Chinatown in Manhattan.
Don't go anywhere in Manhattan. Manhattan sucks. Don't go anywhere in Manhattan.
Go to Flushing, Queens.
Where no tourists go. There are no tourists there because they only go to Manhattan. They only go to Times Square. They only go to, you know, those typical areas. You can get really good Italian food in the Bronx. You can get really good Chinese food in Flushing, Queens. You can go get fantastic seafood at City Island in the Bronx. And I have talked to New York City people. I'm talking about people that grew up in New York City who have never heard of City Island. And I'm like, well, you live there. And these New York people tell me, they say, well, you know, people that live in Brooklyn never really go to any other boroughs. They don't really know anything about other boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Michael Komaroff. He said, I don't know if I've ever been to the Bronx. You know, so I mean, that's like people
there's no reason for them to go there. There's no reason for them to go there.
Brooklyn
has. So they're very isolated. Yeah. I'm sorry, James. They're very isolated within their own city in a way.
People in Brooklyn probably know more about Fort Lauderdale, Florida, than they know about Queens or the Bronx.
Yeah, Brooklyn has Bensonhurst, the Italian neighborhood, Sheepshead Bay, where they have a marina, fishing boats, and then there's Brighton Beach, which is Russian. They call it Little Odessa, and then Coney Island. Coney Island, very old seaside resort. The famous Coney Island smiling face, that clown face. Yeah, Brooklyn. Hey, that beer was pretty good. That Brooklyn Brewery, that was really.
Oh yeah, and then you got New York City, and New Jersey, which is like a total separation in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is I'm like 10 or 15-minute bus ride to 42nd Street. Flatbush is a bad area. Flatbush and Crown Heights are not very. I think those are the only parts of Brooklyn left. Yeah, I'm like 10 or 15 minutes to 42nd Street by bus, and there's a ferry that goes right across the Hudson. The bottom of the hill where I live, we have the Edgewater Marina, and there's a New York Waterway ferry that goes from Edgewater Marina right to Midtown, back and forth, like every 20 minutes.
Don't even go to Flatbush, even if you're hanging out with the lords of Flatbush.
Yeah, where Henry Winkler and Sly Stallone. Remember that movie? The Lord Flatbush was a movie. Bo, 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 bo. Yeah,
sure. I watched that movie. It came on CBS television like about a year after it came out at the theater.
Yeah, Stallone's like, Broader than Broadway. Oh, you know, they moved Giuliani. I guess Commissioner Bratton. He got rid of all the peep shows and the adult entertainment in 42nd Street. They moved to another.
Yeah. He turned Times Square into Disneyland.
Yeah, he made it family oriented, but they moved closer to the Hudson River. I heard. But
Yeah,
but
back in the 1970s and 80s, Times Square was garbage.
Well, some people call it garbage. Some people actually reminisce on that time because it had some character as compared to what it is now.
Mario Cuomo closed down all the raunchy places back in the 80s when the Bacon and AIDS started. The disease, Bacon and AIDS started. He closed down Plato's Retreat, all the swingers.
Plato's Retreat. What was the other one? Studio 54. But that closed on its own. But
but other things went on. And then there's the Hellfire. It was the Zoo. Plato's Retreat is the most famous one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. The 70s and the early 80s are a time that people from like my parents' generation look back on the city as like full of like the Wild West kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s they turned it all into you go there on a field trip when you're a kid. Giuliani's the one that was behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Now, answer to Nina. My friend told me the people that walked in the peep shows, all you smell was detergent ammonia because they had these guys constantly mopping the floors with a
Well, all right. Now, anyway,
what'd you say? You sound like Ralph Cramden. Humming.
I am Ralph Brandon. All right. Anyway, I used to like Audrey Meadows. I used to think Audrey Meadows was kind of good looking, actually.
She is good looking. She was good looking. No, she really was. And she wasn't, they didn't want to choose her because she was too attractive to be Alice Cramden. And Jackie Gleason took a liking to her. I guess that's probably why. And,
I used to say, man, if this bus driver can get together with Audrey Meadows, man, anybody can do anything. It's like, this is a joke. I mean,
he had no radio, he had no telephone, he had no television. He had an ice box with a drip pan underneath it. Okay, he had nothing. He had no furniture. Ed Norton had all the furniture. And the telephone and the TV. But,
Ed Norton is the one that says like, "Oh, they punch it to the moon." That one.
No, that was Ralph.
He said, "Hey, Ralphie boy."
Ed was like
but he didn't have a radio or anything.
Ralph had nothing. He was cheap.
Ed Norton was the one that would come over all the time and kind of irritate him and say, "Hey, Ralphie boy."
Hey, Ralphie boy. And he drove a bus, but he only made $62 a week in the 1950s.
But he was probably in a good union.
$62 a week. He was in a union.
He had to be in a union. I'm sure he got a good retirement.
He says, Alice was complaining. $62 a week. She was screaming out the window. He says, I don't want my salary to leak out. And she says, your salary couldn't drip out.
Yeah, and then the mother-in-law would come over and Ralph would say, "Get out."
Well, her mother-in-law says, "My poor Alice could have married so many other people. He could have married this one. What a nice boy he was. Oh, and he's very."
This show was popular in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
You know how it ended?
So when did you guys watch it? When
reruns
when you were kids?
Yeah. You know what happened with the Honeymooners? They got canceled because of I Love Lucy, and they became big with reruns.
Oh, okay.
Because
and then I Love Lucy became big with reruns too.
Yeah, but I Love Lucy beat them out in the ratings. But I always thought that Lucille Ball was extremely annoying and intrusive. Like she used to barge in on Desi Arnaz's performance, at the club. And she was really a pain.
She was annoying. Yeah, she was
really, really annoying.
52.
Okay.
Like
Nah,
some
it's
kind of
probably
like
more than that. I'd say it's probably
There's
more
some
than
kind of like-
$600.
some kind of like codependent maniac, you know?
Now, Fred and Ethel Mertz hated each other. They just tolerated one another on the show. On I Love Lucy.
Yeah. What I really liked was the Desi Lucy Comedy Hour, which came after the I Love Lucy show and lasted about 2 years. And it was a 90-minute show, and every episode had a famous actor or actress. And because you remember on I Love Lucy, they all decided to leave New York City, and they moved to Connecticut and set up a bed and breakfast with like a performance hall, and so famous actors would come there to perform, and they would have, you know, like, oh, Gig Young is here, and of course they would have some kind of situation with that, you know. But anyway, now,
Yeah, I used to watch them all. Jack Benny with Rochester, the butler, and all those guys. Yeah.
right now, James is going to close us out. Any last comments, Ronnie? Ronnie, any last?
Yeah.
Give peace a chance.
Give peace a chance.
Give
Well, that's
peace
all we're
a
saying.
chance.
All right, so James is going to close us out with a musical selection, and everybody have a nice evening. And don't forget to watch reruns of the Bob Newhart Show with the greatest theme song of any situation comedy. All right.
Happy Decoration Day.
And don't forget to watch the reruns of Dawn Busters, because Mr. Terrio has plenty of them. He didn't throw them away. So
And he works very hard on these shows.
right, and with your gift donation to support this work. Okay.
All right.
That's the other guy. Ahoy, matey! Happy Memorial Day weekend, 2021, and the pandemic is slowly diminishing.
It's dead.
No, it's not dead. It's not dead. Don't forget the variants will bite you in the ass, so be careful. The variants.
Time to mask down. Down with the scamdemic, up with the freedom. All right, now, anyway, y'all take care now. You here? Y'all come back now. You here?
Y'all come back down here. What was that show? They're all waving. Was that the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yep.